Okay.
Right. Good morning, Keller Williams. How's everyone doing? We have a
Great.
very
Good morning.
special, yes. All right. We have a very special guest today. I want to introduce the world as people are logging on. As you can see, I'm slowly going at a slow pace so more people can go on and I can do a proper introduction to this awesome, fine gentleman here. So, how many more people we got coming in, Kim? There we go. Yeah.
They keep on coming.
They keep on coming. See, yep, Susie. Right. I see Nina, Chance. All right. See, now it's a party. All right. So 16, that's a good number. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to proudly introduce Mr. Stephon Carradine, who is a licensed, believe it or not, real estate broker of over 20 years. 20 years. He's got experience in real estate, sales management. His keen understanding of the real estate industry and his skills as a sales coach, speaker has, helped hundreds of clients, but not just clients, agents like yourself. So, get ready for a fun fact of questions that I'm gonna, unload to him for him to answer for you guys. And also a salute to a former U.S. Marine of 7 years. Thank you for serving this wonderful country of ours. And that 7 years in the Marines, man, that's not easy. That's not easy at all. Doesn't matter what role you played. The Marines are a crazy bunch. So first and foremost, Mr. Stephon, why don't you, aside from the 20 years of experience, that's quite some time. That's 2 decades. Why don't you give a brief little overview of of your experience and the ups and downs that you've endured.
Yeah,
And some of your favorite moments. We'll start with that.
absolutely. Thank you, Chris. I want to thank everybody for joining this morning. I saw some of you last night at the Christmas party. I have, for the last 15 seconds or so, been doing my voice exercises to try to get the Christmas party tone out of my voice from the night before. But yeah, like Chris said, I've been in the business for over 20 years. I started part-time as a sales associate. I was selling computer systems for IBM, and Monday through Friday I would work my 9 to 5, if you will, and then I'd come into the real estate office after that and work for a couple hours. And then on Saturdays and Sundays I'd work with buyers showing property primarily, and on Sunday doing open houses. And I kicked off my career from there. I was part-time for a couple of years, transitioned into full-time. And then about 1997, a partner and I bought a Century 21 franchise. So I spent the next 15 years as a Century 21 franchise broker owner. I had an opportunity to train, coach, mentor hundreds of agents through that process, and found that's really where my passion is helping agents build their businesses, build their brands. I get a great deal of satisfaction out of that. I have my book of business. In fact, I'm at that stage now where I'm starting to represent the children of people I sold houses to 20-something years ago, which is very rewarding. But I'm a real estate lifer. Don't know if I intended to be when I got started, but I think most of you will recognize that once you get into this profession and you get the opportunity, I think for us, the opportunity is abundant, regardless of the market. 2022 is going to be a down market, and there'll still be 4 million homes sold across the country. And so I love the fact that one, what we do is so vital to the economy, and two, the opportunity to do it day in and day out is endless. So I'm excited. I joined Keller Williams about 3 months ago after working with a couple of other companies over the years, and I'm really excited to be here. Great group of people. Congratulations to each of you who've decided to join Keller Williams, and thank you and kudos to the staff. Chris, Kim, Haley, Cindy, Minnie, all down the line. I feel very fortunate to be part of the group.
Oh, well, we're glad. Appreciate the kind words, and I love the fact that you said you have a passion for helping people, and to be in this industry, to be so successful at it, you have to, and that's the key. I've noticed that the people who do the best in this industry have to have the passion, care, candor, and just want to do the right thing. And I see that's why a lot of people are attracted to you, hence why you built such a phenomenal team and still growing at that at a pretty great pace, a fast rate at that point. Now, when it comes to, what you do in that passion, what do you think sets you apart from other real estate agents or, teams in terms of, your approach and the services that you offer,
I'm sensitive to the fact that we have chosen a very emotional life. We spend a lot of time working with people, buyers and sellers who are in the middle of a stressful situation. Let's face it. I mean, our job is to help mitigate that stress, but it's a transaction that people undertake infrequently, and it's financially sensitive and therefore stressful. And so as agents, we deal with that. And my approach is to help the associates in our group manage the emotional roller coaster that is the real estate transaction. And so we have constant check-ins throughout the process. I get a great deal of satisfaction out of helping with the complex transaction. Right? What strategy should we put in place to get the buyer to understand that making this decision is the best interest for them? What move can we make to get the seller to understand that what we're recommending is in the best interest of the seller? And so we collectively as a group have an open communication forum. We text often. We meet once a week in person. We talk over Zoom, and all of that is designed to identify problems or challenges in a transaction as early as possible. But primarily it's to give the agent a sense of comfort, knowing that when they're in this process, no matter what comes their way, they can come to me. I can go to Simon. We can collaborate. If it's a commercial deal, we can check in with Jason and get his feedback, et cetera. And so I think to answer your question directly, I like the agents to know that they're not alone, right? This can be a very lonely business. You just finished showing property. It's Sunday evening. The client wants to write an offer. You're not quite sure how to structure it based on some of the information. What do you do, right? I try and ensure that the associates that are in our group know that they have somebody there to help them.
I love that. That's leadership, man. And it seems like, I can see why people are attracted to you and why, they want to be a part of your organization, because you're there to not only, help them, but lead them to, a pathway towards success. And you do it because you want to, not because you have to, and so they're very fortunate to have you in that position. And that's a great value proposition you have for agents wanting to join your team. But you also have a very, very strong value proposition for those out on the field. So when it comes to, your clients, let me ask you this: how can you describe your communication style, and how frequently, you provide your updates to clients, and how often you communicate with them? Because obviously, they're entrusting you with, basically their life is
Yes.
what, for us, is what it feels like. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We in terms of the check-ins, I'm fond of saying let's use the contingency periods as sort of a barometer of when to check in, right? Obviously, if you have a listing, you want to speak with them at least once a week, unless something comes up that requires their attention. And it's so, I remember early in my career, if I didn't have good news or if I had bad news, I was reluctant to check in. And obviously that's not the thing to do because it only gets worse and it gets harder to check in. So a day becomes two and two becomes four, et cetera. But I use the transaction itself. We have those built-in processes, contingency periods where we have to have things done. And I think, if it's a 10-day contingency removal period, if it's a 17-day or 21 days, I think that's a great platform or roadmap that we could use to make sure we stay in touch with our clients. Doug Thompson handed out something at the sales meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it was a profile that came from NAR, and it showed. I thought I had it somewhere in my office. It showed what the clients wanted most from us, and I think the least important thing they wanted was help with staging, and the most important thing they wanted was help negotiating. And we, I think, as real estate professionals and salespeople in general, kind of take that for granted because we're in the talk to the people business. We negotiate all the time. We read books on negotiations. We go to classes on how to negotiate, but the client does not do that, right? In general. And so I provide counsel to them, and I stress it to them that my expertise, my primary function is to represent them in the transaction and help them negotiate the best terms for their transaction. And again, it's something that I talk about in the beginning when I meet with clients, and it's something I remind them of through the process, that this isn't about me taking your property, putting it on the MLS, or it's not about me showing you properties if you're a buyer that is looking to buy. It's about understanding the real estate transaction, having the skill set to interact with the agent on the other side in a way that benefits you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the client that I'm representing, the person or the people that I have committed to help.
Love that. I actually do. That's amazing. And you said it, negotiations is tough because they don't know how, and they're entrusting you to do it the right way because, it's your duty to find those favorable outcomes that, have them rely on you for. So I love that. That was excellent. Now, let me ask you this, there's a lot of agents in this office that are going to be doing a lot of negotiations going into 2024. And there's a lot of people on this Zoom right now that are expecting to put in the work and having a really explosive business in 2024. And by explosive, that means a lot of transactions, a lot of busy work. So when it comes to, what you do, how do you basically, take on multiple clients at once, and how do you make sure that each one has the attention that they deserve?
That's a great question. It is and a challenge. It's a high class problem, I say,
Yeah.
right? If we have business coming at us in a way that we are struggling in how to manage it, I think one, we have to accept the reality that it's going to require more effort.
Yeah.
Right? And sort of like, be careful what you ask for. So if you put more effort into your business, you put more money into your business, you're going to yield more and better results. I think once I am fond, and this is a personal choice, right? But I think that the cost, both the hard and soft cost to get into escrow, is such that once you get a transaction in escrow, that must become the priority. And in fact, a couple of people in my group struggle with this a little bit. They'll get someone in escrow, and then they'll sort of pivot away and start, focusing on the buyers again, focusing on the sellers and getting more business. And I get that, right? The last thing you want to do is get in escrow and spend all your time on your deal, as Mike Ferry likes to say, working on your deal, and then you forget about your business, and you close escrow, and then you're out of business. So it's obviously something that you have to manage. But I think one, the priority is to make sure that the escrow is moving at the pace that it needs to move, so that it closes in the time frame it's scheduled to close. And once you have that button down, then you're good. I think as your business grows, it's really important to pre-qualify both buyers and sellers. Right? When you don't have much going on, you can spend more time with people who are uncertain.
Yeah.
But if you had a constant flow of clients that were writing offers, opening escrow, you wouldn't have that same amount of time to spend with people who aren't quite there yet. Right? So I think using technology to stay in touch with those people who aren't quite ready, right? If they're not ready, if they're saving more money or getting their credit fixed, or they just, haven't reached their time frame. They're waiting for school to end and they're going to move in June, but it's January and you have to stay in touch with them. use technology to leverage, right? One of Gary Keller's favorite words. Use technology to leverage your skill. Stay in touch with those people until they're ready, where they actually need more individual handholding. So to recap, once you get someone in escrow, that has to be the priority, right? Make sure that that's going at the pace that it needs to go. Make sure you pre-qualify the people so that you know where you're spending your time and whether it's valuable. And then 3, use technology and as a leverage to stay in touch with folks until they're actually ready to move into the buying or selling phase.
Awesome. Now, when it comes to that too, closing, I know a lot of agents that do a lot of closing gifts, and they like to spend money, for their clients as a thank you for their business. When it comes towards the financial aspect, if you're okay answering this, where does most of the money that you put in towards your business typically go to?
It goes to market. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's interesting. This is recorded, so I guess just as a confession, but I am not very good with the client gifts. I just thought about that a couple of days ago. I had a client, the Smiths. That's their actual last name. I'm not just making it up. The Smiths. They called me about 6 months ago, and they said, "Hey, Stephon, we're thinking about moving. And no, we've decided to move. We want you to come list the house." And I sold this house to them before their second child was born, and now he just graduated from Dartmouth.
Wow.
Anyway, just great people. So we got the deal together. I think we went 150,000 over asking. It was wonderful. And then it closed escrow, and it kind of fell through the cracks for me, right? So I really want to step up and get better. I'm getting on my own personal tangent now, but I really want to work on being better with closing gifts and staying in touch, with clients after we close. But our hard dollars has to go into hard cost marketing, I'd call it. Something in the mail to them once a month, something to them on social media once a week, right? And I think it was Ashley talking about this at the business planning clinic the other day. It would vary between 50 and 70 touches a year that we were trying to do, right? If you do one a week via social media or the internet or email, that's 52 touches. And if you send them something in the mail once a month, that's another 12. That's 62 to 64. She was saying you need to get up to about 100 touches because we're competing with so many other entities for the attention of our client, right? And so, and this is a great time, and that's a great question, Chris, because this time of year, I just got the bill for our board dues for next year. And it kind of triggered a thought about, okay, these are the costs. This is what we choose. This is the life we've chosen, right? Coming out of the business planning clinic, my group and I, we're getting together not next week, but early the following week. And we're going to sit down and iron out, 3 or 4 pages of hardcore stuff that we need to follow in the new year. And part of it is our cost. And so it's hard to make money without having money. That's why I'm fond of people who join the business and do it part-time. I often encourage them to remain with their part-time job because if you're going to start a business in real estate, you need money, right? And so you can't be afraid to make the investment. We are so fortunate in Southern California in the marketplace that we service. The gross commission is $20,000. So if you're on a team at a 50-50 split, you're going to get $10,000 per transaction. The return on investment will come. You make the investment, do the work, you'll get the business.
Absolutely. I've seen more people make more money being on a team than they are as a solo agent, and you're right. When it comes to this industry, I think the term "it takes money to make money" had to originate in this industry. There's no doubt about it for me. There's no doubt. And I loved how you had that humble moment about saying, you fell through the crack about the whole closing gift, and it's something you want to get better at. That shows the human aspect of this. A lot of people think these top producers, people who've been in the industry, like yourself, are just so perfect and there's no flaws in your system, and and they don't realize that, like them, we're all human. So when it
Yes.
comes to some conflicts of interest or hurdles, what are some of the things you can say you've had that you were able to overcome that could help these people overcome those same similar issues?
How much time do we have, man? I,
As
you
much
know,
as you
I, you
need.
know, I, it's interesting. I was talking to Heidi on my team in our group, and she just finished a Tony Robbins event, and we were reflecting last night on. I went to a Tony Robbins event where you walk on the coals and the hot coals, the whole thing. It was really something. But one of the things I came away from that event was thinking that was recognizing I don't celebrate my victories, right? When you close escrow or you recruit an agent, or I bought and sold four franchises in either mergers or acquisitions when I was with the Century 21 system. And it's so funny. I would, do something successfully and then just move right to the next thing. And then I realized I have to celebrate my victories. And that was one of the things I took from the Tony Robbins thing. Likewise, from the Red Book, from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller's bestseller, there's a piece in there that talks about building a foundation before you get creative, right? Real estate agents by nature are people who come into the real estate industry. Part of the things we want is the ability to do our own thing, right? We want to make our own brand. We want to use this logo. We're going to figure out this best way to do something that has been done for decades, right? So I fought that. I did that when I first got in the business, right? I was guilty of that. In fact, I still fight that, right? I'm fond of reading business books and autobiographies of business leaders, and I'll get ideas on things that I think would be fantastic. And I have to remind myself to just remain with the foundation, remain with the fundamentals, the blocking and tackling. Engineering advances have grown tremendously in the last 20 years, but physics has remained unchanged, right? There is this foundation, I think, that we can all hang our hat on, right? And again, we're fortunate in so many ways. There are great real estate companies throughout the country. There's, that have, weathered different markets, and they've grown with, the changing times. And we're very fortunate to be part of one of those organizations. And I think if you're like me and you struggle with the foundations and getting the systems in place, don't take this time and work on your business. Michael Gerber, the author of the E-Myth and the E-Myth Revisited, talks about people working in their business and doing it, but they rarely raise above that and work on their business.
Yeah.
So I think working on your business is so critical. Getting organized, and please use command, right? Use command. It is complicated to adjust your life to tracking the data, to taking the client from contact to close in the system. But if you view yourself as a business owner, and we all are, and imagine you are building this business that you want to sell at some day, or you want to have your kids inherit, right? That business can't be about sticky notes and spreadsheets. That business has to be in some sort of automated system so that you can hand it over to the person that you're selling it to, or hand it over to the person that you want to run it after you. So take the time, spend the extra effort, make sure you're running your business efficiently through command.
I love it. And I love the fact that, you mentioned a lot of good books and names, because, some of the biggest producers I've ever met, the ones that have excelled over $1 billion, the Bob Lucidos of the group, even the Gary Kellers, they all have something in common with what you just said. And they're all coachable. They want to learn more. They never stop putting themselves in the position to learn and grow their minds. And then to not only take what they said and then run with one of the systems like Command to be able to leverage and streamline your business, was a quick learning curve for you, but you learned it, you got it down, and now you're utilizing it at a very high level. And I think a lot of agents don't realize that, adapting to the tools and information that we give them can actually really help them, and to be able to be coachable at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I was fortunate enough to meet Alex Cabrera, who is a operations manager. She lives in with KW Experience, and so I was able to meet her, and thank you, and get her into and become part of our group. And it's been a game changer right out the gate. Again, there were about 5 or 6 of us that came over from another organization where I was in a leadership of. And I know we're up to 8. The goal is to grow to 15 next year. And you can't do that without a strong back end support, a strong admin, if you will. And so through your efforts, Chris, we were able to identify that, get Alex on board, and it's just been an absolute godsend for me.
Love that. That's awesome. And so if you guys are looking to build a team or join a team, let me know. But here's the thing. I want to wrap this up with one last question. Going into 2024, I know you have a plan, you have your goals set, you have a game plan. But when it comes to starting the year off right, what is the best advice you can give for the people on this call going into 2024? What is like maybe even one of the one things that they can focus on or do that's going to make their business truly be the best that they've ever had, the best year ever?
Yeah. I would say it begins right now, or it began last week when we had the business planning class. So if you attended that class, wonderful. If you did not, reach out to Chris or team leader or whomever, and make sure you have a written plan in place. It does not have to be the plan that you're going to use in June, right? A business plan's a living, breathing document. You're going to make adjustments to it throughout the process, but you have to have a foundation. You know what? I guess you don't have to do anything. It's better to have a foundation and something in writing that you're working from, right? That you're using as a guideline to govern your day. Because if we just wake up in the morning and we do our business just based on how it comes at us, some of us are going to have success. There's no substitute for talent, right? And we are surrounded by talented people. We are talented, and sometimes that talent is a curse, because it allows us to have success when we aren't doing the things we should to have success. I will put myself in that category, especially early in my career. I was a talented salesperson, and I'm pretty sure I'm the luckiest person in the world too. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty lucky. So that will allow you to get business. But I think the one thing we have to do, and we have today is the 8th. So we want to kick it off January 1st. We have 24 days to get your business plan in place, set a goal, right? And follow the plan. And then don't be afraid to tweak the plan, right? Don't be afraid to make adjustments. If you're not having success cold calling, as Ashley said so eloquently, then look at something else you can do, right? If the market, makes a correction and you need to increase your outbound call activity, then take a look at your plan and increase your outbound call activity. So I think to answer your question in a nutshell, Chris, the number one thing people can do, in my opinion, is to have a business plan and then set the discipline or create the discipline to follow the plan in the new year.
I think that's beautiful. It's well said. I think that's perfect, because going into a new year, if you don't have a plan and you're just winging it, I don't think it's going to be your best year. You got to have that plan. And one of the tools that I've seen that I use is the 411. And to be able to track what my annual, my monthly, and my weekly goals are in order to hit that annual goal has been very effective. And to have the discipline to follow it and tweak it like you said, has always been a work in progress for me, and I think you're absolutely spot on with that. So thank you. And I think we're at 31 minutes, so I guess I'd leave it open for about a minute and a half. If there's anyone on this call that wants to ask Stephon some questions, Stephon, thank you again. That was awesome. So yeah, let's see if anybody has any questions for Stephon.
I have a question for him.
Okay.
You touched on that you had been to a Tony Robbins event, and so I'm curious, what part does personal growth and development play in your own life, and how do you encourage that in your team members? And also, how do you find time to work on personal growth when you're in the throes of a busy career?
Yeah, that's a very good point to make. I mean, we're all challenged time wise. I think, the things that we make important to us, we find time to do. Our physical appearance, we find time to get haircuts or get our hair done, right? Our hygiene, we find time to jump in the shower, right? Things that are important, we make time for. And again, this gets back to us being talented. Sometimes we can just suck it up and power through is what I like to say. I try to get my kids to power through challenges, and that's okay. But you have to refuel sometimes, and the personal development is the refueling. I don't read a lot of fiction. I watch fiction on television, but I'm more of a fact-based person. And so the personal development piece has always it's been fun for me, right? I mean, I look at life as this journey that we're on. And, the life expectancy in the country is about 80 years old. So in my mind, you have these 4 20-year segments to work on yourself. And finding out who you are is kind of fascinating. And then being able to improve on things that you want to improve on is fascinating. We live in a cynical world at times, right? And I am in favor of pushing the cynicism away and working through the challenges that we have. I just sort of accept it. I mean, think about life as this turbulent roller coaster that we're on. I kind of find that exhilarating. I mean, sometimes if things are going too good, I'll sabotage it just to get a little rush. I don't encourage that, right?
Yeah.
That's some things I'm working through, right? But if you think about the things that you have that you want to improve on, suck it up and improve on it, right? We're at the top of the food chain. We're at the top of the evolutionary food chain. I think for real estate agents in Southern California, we're at the top of the real estate food chain. I'm confident that we have the ability to accomplish big things. And if you're facing some sort of challenge personally, you can overcome it, right? You can. Or you can get the satisfaction out of the pursuit of trying to overcome it. And I think that's for me, pursuing things. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't think it's the guarantee of happiness. I think we have to get the joy from pursuing the happiness and working on yourself. I'm looking at my bookcase now, and I'm just thinking about, Good to Great, Never Split the Difference, Barack Obama's The Audacity of Hope, Awaken the Giant Within, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, The Molecule of More. That's a great book. It talks about dopamine and how, we're driven to want more and more and more. Anyway, make it a priority. And if you make it a priority, then you'll find time for the self-help. There's 168 hours in the week. That's the only thing we all have in common is that 168 hours. If you work 10 hours and you sleep 8 hours, that's 18 hours. I don't know if anybody gets 8 hours of sleep. I certainly don't. But if you work 10 hours and you sleep 8 hours, that's 18 hours. You still have 6 hours. What do you do with that 6 hours, right? If you spend 30 minutes a day reading something or listening to something inspiring, and I'll wrap with this. I think that there are three things that are important as we pursue our goals. One is clarity. All right. You have to get clear about what it is that you want and what you want to accomplish. And I think that's why the business planning session is so vital. You can really detail what it is that you want and want to accomplish. So clarity. And then once you get clear about what it is you want, you have to commit to it.
Yeah.
You have to commit to it, right? Dedicate the time to it and commit to it. And then lastly, it's confidence. So get clear, commit, and then do it with confidence. And if you do it with confidence, you're going to get results.
And there was one last question here. I know we're over time here, so I appreciate everyone staying on because this is really good information. Christine, you mentioned that, you know, although you say, this is her question in the chat, although you say you're not good at closing gifts, they came back to you many years later. What would you say is the quote unquote magic that had them still thinking of you?
It's a great question, Christine. You know, I especially early on, and I'm not sure if this is right or not, because my clients became my friends.
I love that.
And so in this couple in particular, you know, we were of the same age. Our kids were kind of the same age growing up. They became my friends. So that was one. But I don't think buyers and sellers want multiple real estate agents in their lives. I think one is plenty. So I think if they find you, I have another client, Bridget. Her mom is elderly, and they might move her into a home. And I sold Bridget and Terry, her husband, a house. It was $239,000 in Downey, to tell you how long ago it was. And she called me. Bridget called me a year ago and said, "Hey, my mom has Alzheimer's, and we're thinking about, you know." And she said, "You know, Stephon, if I don't do anything with real estate until I call you first." And so if start with the assumption that the client, if you do business with them, that should be it. They don't need another real estate agent. You only need one dentist, right? You don't need multiple dentists. And so once we meet them, you own a piece of their mind, that piece that says, this is my real estate agent. Stay in touch with them, use social media, pick up the phone every now and then and call them, right? And if you do that, when it comes time for them to transact, they'll thank you.
I love that. You know, it's funny, 9 years going on 10 years in the industry for myself, you know, I still don't know it all. And you said something just now that's so simple. And why didn't I think of that? Even for me, like the dentist, even I was thinking about because you and I, we both wear glasses. I'm like, I've been going to the same eye doctor for years. I've been going to the same dentist for years. Oh my gosh, you're right. You know, so that one person, you're that one realtor. You know, why have multiple realtors when you have one of almost everything else? That's mind-boggling, even for me. That's my biggest aha for today, that I feel I should have known. And I do. I just don't think of things like that. And you were spot on. That's a great analogy. And you know, everyone in this chat, like, yeah, take note of that. You guys have to be the one person, just like the people you rely on, the one person that you take your business to. That's Stephon, that was the best thing I've ever heard all week. Thank you for that one. Yeah. So, well, with that being said, everyone, thank you guys. I know we're 10 minutes over. Stephon, you have been phenomenal. Thank you. You're the first person that's done this with me that's gone over the time limit, and we still have like a majority of the people on here. You are amazing. I am so grateful and appreciative that you took the time out of your busy day and your schedule to do this with me and to do this for everybody on the call, and share just some awesome knowledge that even myself picked up from you. So thank you so very, very much.
Thank you. My pleasure, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the holiday season with your family and friends, and let's make 2024 our year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Well, hey, like you said, have a phenomenal, rest of the day. Have a great weekend, and have a phenomenal start. Remember, have a foundation. Build that business plan, like you said, and you will see the success. You just will. Just apply yourself and have the discipline. So go out there and be the best version of yourself and kick some butt.
Thank you.
Indeed. Have a good day, guys.
Awesome. You too. Thanks, guys.